Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and the Yukon. Trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the pink symbol ABN-AF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Chris Vermeulen. His website is thegoldandoilguy.com. Welcome back to the show, Chris.
Hey, Jim. Thanks for having me.
The U.S. dollar, the Canadian dollar, what's the picture for both of those currencies?
Yeah, they're pretty much an inverse chart of each other. The U.S. dollar has been on quite the decline here for the last several months, kind of really picking up speed. And you and I touched on it over our last interview a couple of weeks ago that the U.S. dollar was right down at a critical point, a major low that it hit back in May of 2016 of last year. And the last time it hit that point, we saw a huge rally take place, and it lasted several months. And that's the level that we came down. We pretty much tagged it within a couple ticks a couple weeks ago, and we've seen a bounce in the dollar. And this week so far, we're already seeing the U.S. dollar trade up to new multi-week highs. It's got some pretty good strength behind it. And you look at the Canadian dollar, and it pretty much reversed down at the same time that the dollar found a bottom. And a big chunk of that is because the Canadian dollar obviously follows crude oil very closely, the price of crude oil. And when the dollar firms up, we usually see crude oil start to move lower. And we've seen crude oil more or less top out in the last couple of days, and we've seen energy stocks move down quite sharply. Actually, they're hitting new multi-month lows, the energy sector stocks. So, I think we're out to see some strength in the U.S. dollar and some pretty good weakness in the Canadian dollar going forward here.
Of course, everybody wonders, why does the U.S. dollar do so well, especially now that we have perhaps a war setting with North Korea?
Yeah, at this point, the market, it's still a technical bounce, meaning it fell to a certain point, and it happened to fall with increasing speed near the end, which puts it into an oversold, more or less, market condition. And when it hits a critical support line or level in the sand, it tends to just find a bounce. So that's what we're at. We've had the initial bounce. It's kind of floundering down here. The question is, are we going to get stability and see this really take off? And we need to see the U.S. dollar close above that 94 level, and that'll be a really bullish sign. And I think we could go a lot higher with the U.S. dollar. But, you never really know what. Usually commodities or currencies go in the opposite direction, you think. You look at when all that stuff was going on with potential war in Russia, and it was nothing but bad news. The stock market, it rallied, and it's been on fire. And, it makes no sense because everything is all about, everybody's avoiding Russia and all negative news, yet the stock market was rallying. So you never know what the markets are going to do, and you really just got to follow the price action and the momentum behind it. And we're getting to a point here where the U.S. dollar index is super close to having a strong close, which would send more buyers and get all the short sellers out of the market, and that'll create a very strong rally. But we need a little bit more strength, close above 94, before I think we see people start to jump into the dollar and start accumulating more of it again.
Well, I'm just taking a look at a calendar. 2 years ago, we had Black Friday on August the 25th. Well, we have an August the 25th Friday coming up next week. Could we see the same kind of action happen on the stock markets, where most people say bad things happen in September or October on the market, but everything this year has been about 2 or 3 weeks ahead of the predictable cycle. So that would fit right in with that.
Yeah, for sure. You never know what's going to happen, and it could very well happen. I wrote an article on Sunday talking about comparing the tech bubble, the .com bubble that we had, and are we having a do-over? And if you were to overlay the more or less the XCI index, which is more or less like the computer tech index, it pretty much mirrors the NASDAQ. You could use both charts as the same thing, but we've got the exact same type of cycles, the exact same price formations and patterns, almost to the T. You overlay them on top of each other, and they both last several years as they unfolded. We are very close to a massive correction, more or less a full-out bear market in the tech sector, and we could see a huge unwinding. And we started to see this unfold a while ago before Trump got in, and he really kicked things into high gear, which actually has made this chart even more bearish simply because it's got this huge exuberance. Everyone's just piling into tech stocks and technology, and everybody thinks you can't go wrong. So, we're at this point here where things could get very ugly, and we're at the point on the chart. It could happen at any time. It may not be today. It could be next week. It could be 4 months from now still. But the markets long term are primed and ready for something pretty ugly. We just need to wait for it to kind of rear up so we can see it and then start to identify what we need to do in order to avoid it or take advantage of it.
Well, some analysts have told me what they have been watching is just Amazon, because it's been such a monster, and how Amazon goes is how everything else is going to go. Plus, it takes up such a huge amount of space on the market. We only have 3 or 4 big giants like Google, Apple, Amazon doing well. Declines have happened elsewhere already.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You take Amazon, divide it by the SPX, you kind of get a ratio of how they move to each other, and whatever Amazon does is what the SP 500 does, and they are pretty much a mirror image. So, we saw this a long time ago. We saw this just before Trump got into place and kind of trumped the market, and everything rallied for this final exhaustion. I think blow off top is what I think it's going to end up being in the stock market. We already saw this. The small caps had broke down, transportations broke down. The only thing holding the market up were a handful of these great big tech stocks. And the markets were so close to breaking down. And then, of course, the news came, Trump got in, and the markets lit up and took off. But we were only a few days away from a technical full-blown bear market. And I don't know if you want to say he saved the day, but more or less he's extended it. And when you push something further than it's probably already supposed to go, it's probably going to end up a lot worse than it would have been if it just rolled over and started a bear market before he got in place. So you're right. The big tech stocks, Amazon is the one to follow. What Amazon is doing, it seems to be exactly what the broad market is doing.
We'll have more with Chris Vermeulen right after the break.
I'm Larry Ray, President and CEO of American Manganese, Inc., listed on the TSX Venture, ticker symbol AMY, A-M-Y, with proprietary patents in the U.S., China, and South Africa. Our focus is on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. China recently legislated the responsibility for recycling onto their electric vehicle manufacturers and importers. For more information, please visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Arctic Star Exploration, operated by a team of proven mine finders, is focused on diamonds in Finland and the Northwest Territories of Canada. A work program is planned for our Finland property that contains diamond-bearing kimberlite. Arctic Star trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ADD, and the Frankfurt Exchange, symbol 82A1. Please visit our website at arcticstar.ca or call us at 604-689-1799.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Chris Vermeulen. Chris, what's your outlook for oil?
Crude oil has been it's been rolling over the last couple of weeks. My outlook hasn't really changed over the last since our last time we spoke. More or less, crude oil has been trading up near resistance, and it's in a downward channel, a downward trend. And we've been waiting for the dollar to find a bottom, which I think it has, at least temporarily. And as the dollar moves up, we're going to see crude oil rotate down. And we've already seen crude oil start to move down this week fairly nicely. I think it's got several more weeks of it potentially going all the way back down to around $44 to $42 per barrel. Currently it's trading at 27. So there's about $5 per barrel wiggle room to the downside there. before I think it could find a real bottom.
At 47, I think you said 27.
Sorry, yeah. At 42 is the low I think we could potentially hit. Right now it's at 47.
Yeah, like I was going to say, a Freudian slip. Could it go down to 22? So many people have predicted a collapse in oil because right now OPEC last time went along with their production freeze. This time, apparently, they're all cheating.
Right. Well, yeah, it's we won't get into that.
I mean, that's been their history.
Yeah.
Now, Venezuela, how does that figure into all these things? Because of all their civil unrest, does that cut oil supplies, or are they still careful to make sure the oil still flows?
Yeah, I'm not sure what Venezuela is doing. I'm not following what their whole story is. So I can't really answer that one.
Gold, is it going to go up or down from here?
Yeah, gold is finally, we've had some good life into gold. It's in a multi-year basing formation. I have a feeling, obviously, I have a feeling it's going to rally really well once some type of either a war breaks out or we maybe slip into this bear market and we see the VIX, we see everything really take off to the upside in terms of fear and people will start piling into the safe havens. But short term, I still feel as though we are going to see gold, silver, and miners continue to underperform here. Gold's been holding up fairly well, but it's at the 1,300 mark. It tagged it last week. It reversed back down. It's a whole number. 1,300 is whole numbers are pretty significant because investors around the world will be like, well, if gold ever hits 1,300, I'm going to sell my position and lock in profits, or you've got the negative traders. If it hits 1,300, I'm going to short gold, which will drive the price back down so they can take advantage of it. And gold hit that 1,300 level, has reversed back down. U.S. dollar looks primed and ready to rally. Gold miners are kind of underperforming here. So to me, you look at silver and gold miners, they're in a downtrend. They kind of lead the market typically for gold, so I feel as though gold's going to move lower. That being said, there is a lot of fear going on with war talks and all these things, so that is definitely going to help gold possibly just float and trade sideways here, while maybe silver and miners start to underperform a little bit because gold is seen more as a safe haven than silver and gold miners themselves, so it tends to get accumulated a bit more. But grand scheme of things, short term, I'm still bearish on metals, actually more bearish at this point than anywhere else because we should technically be going down from here forward. We've peaked out, I think. But long term, I'm really excited about the precious metal sector. We just need to wait for the overall equities market to top out and potential for some war to really spark gold into high gear.
We'll have more with Chris Vermeulen right after this.
I'm Brian Fowler, president of Blind Creek Resources Limited, listed on the TSX Venture Exchange, ticker symbol BCK. Blind Creek is focused in the Yukon, Northwest Territories, and British Columbia. The company's key property is the Blend Project, one of the largest undeveloped lead-zinc-silver deposits in Western Canada, plus plans to advance the recently acquired, fully permitted historic Engineer Gold Mine in the Atlan District of Northwestern BC. Check us out at blindcreekresources.com.
Keep informed. Receive our weekly recap of thought-provoking articles, podcasts, and radio delivered to your inbox for free. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage, HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Chris Vermeulen. Chris, what about metals that go into batteries? People have said, don't forget, even if you have a battery that uses lithium, that is only 4% of the battery. Things like cobalt, manganese, lead, zinc, those are still very important components for a battery. Are those metals that could be counter-trend to the rest?
Overall, I have a feeling that I don't follow those metals. I haven't really seen what the charts of those have been doing. I pretty much follow the precious metals. But typically, commodities, I don't know. Yeah, unfortunately, I honestly have no idea where some of those cobalt and all those metals are, but Obviously, higher prices of metals is going to make it definitely more expensive for batteries. Lithium prices, like lithium tech stocks, they've all exploded. Lithium is really, is really starting to take off in general. So I don't know what kind of metals are actually used in that or what materials, but the whole battery thing is a little out of my league at this point. But I do feel as though if those metals do go up, obviously the price of batteries will go up.
What about cyber currencies? Do you keep an eye on them? I saw Bitcoin hit $4,000 the other day.
I do, yeah. I've been accumulating Bitcoin. We had that huge rally this early this summer, or this spring, I guess you'd say, and then it pulled back, and I accumulated a bunch in the last couple of weeks, and of course, boom, we've exploded to new highs again. It looks as though it's stalling out here and probably see another consolidation, but digital currencies, I kind of find them to be really exciting, and I've just been learning and doing some studying even last night on some new currencies that are doing some very new and interesting things that are going to make them high demand. And so I think the whole digital currency thing it's in the infancy stage. On a short-term basis, it's kind of bubbled. Bitcoin is big move up, and Ethereum and all these coins, we've seen a huge rally in them this year, and they kind of need to pause and take a break, because you hate to kind of move into all these digital currencies because after they've had a huge run. It's pretty much like the stock market. Typically, when you see Bitcoin, a couple of the big coins move up in value, all the little ones that no one knows, they kind of follow the same price formation, and so they rally and move up as well. Although they're not nearly the same value on a percentage basis, they're still doubling or tripling in value from 1 cent to 3 cents or 4 cents, whatever. So I think the digital currency is a huge thing. I think it's a minefield. There are a ton of junk currencies out there. Some have managers managing currencies. Others have zero support. Most of them have absolute zero support, and it's very easy to download the wrong file, forget to back up your data, your wallet, and you can lose it all. It can be hacked. So there is a major learning curve, and you typically need to get somebody who knows it very well, who understands currencies, has bought currencies, and get them to sit with you and say, okay, walk me through it. Help me open my first wallet so I can go get some Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever it is, and then let's do another one. And it takes you a couple times to figure out how to do it. It's definitely not easy. I've actually have a guy coming over this week to help me with some new coins I haven't been involved with yet, and to get set up to do it, because I don't want to do it wrong, and there's definitely a proper way to do it.
So you need an IT guy instead of an investment advisor.
Exactly. Yeah. It's it's such a different, the big brand name Bitcoin and things. There's lots of companies out there where they got these nice big beautiful websites with blue buttons saying, download wallet and create your account. Well, you go to all the other coins and they have like a forum on it or a very minimum website, and they've got like a link, just a text link, say like, get your wallet here. But there's no instructions. You have to go and read through forum pages. You got to go through all their FAQs and try and figure it out. And there's nothing that says you need to sign up. And many of those currencies, you don't actually sign up with a username and password. You actually download the wallet. The wallet has to load all this data from that currency. And when it's fully loaded and up to date, that wallet now has an ID that you use that ID and back it up, and it's very different. It feels completely backwards from normal investing and downloading files, and definitely a learning curve.
And also with Bitcoin, we were talking about $4,000 per coin, but have they broken those coins up into smaller groups now, smaller currencies?
Well, yeah, like all the digital currencies you can break up into more or less bits and bytes, little tiny chunks. So instead of getting one Bitcoin, you can get 0.0008, of a Bitcoin, which is equal to whatever would be $5 or $10. But so yeah, you can break it up into any denomination. The currencies that to me are the most exciting, and I think to a lot of different groups of people, are the currencies that are focusing on privacy and making it so no transaction can be tracked or traced for tax reasons or for whatever people want to buy and sell. to me, those are going to be the hot commodities because unfortunately people take advantage of privacy, of being able to do things without paying taxes. So people aren't going to naturally gravitate to areas where they don't have to worry about paying taxes or being tracked of what they're buying or selling. And so to me, that's the more interesting. Bitcoin is now becoming mainstream and very, very much so, almost in the books on being tracked and what's going on. So lots of interesting currencies coming out that are focusing 100% on total exclusive, like privacy, that no one can track who or when things have been bought or sold. And that to me is going to be the hot commodity.
Well, I've been told Bitcoin is not as private as many people think it is. Governments right now are tracking it and are keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. The guy that I have, he manages a currency, and he works with another guy who not only kind of started a currency, but he started a couple other currencies, one of them being a big one that everyone knows. And so he was kind of filling me in on some details. And he's like, yeah, Bitcoin, he's like, they have the, what do you call it, the first in the market approach. They're the first ones, everybody wants it. But that's all they got really going for them. They're not nearly as secure and private as everyone thinks they are. And he's like, yeah, it's just something to maybe own if you want to feel like you need one. But he's like, there's way better currencies at way better prices. You don't have to worry about, your Bitcoin dropping $400 in one day.
Chris, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Hey, always a pleasure, Jim. Thanks for having me on the show.
My guest has been Christopher Vermeulen, his website, thegoldanoilguy.com. You're listening to HowStreet.com Radio. Find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Questions for the show or our guests can be sent to info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com Radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com Radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.